everyone, welcome to the Spiritual Citizen. My today's guest is a chain maker, Miss Anita Ahuja. Anita is an environmental conservationist. She is also an author. In 1997, she started an NGO, Conserve India, which worked towards the field of sustainable development and waste management. In 2008, she successfully patented a leather-like material made by single-use plastic. She is also a Ashoka Fellow. She is a recipient of many prestigious awards like Best Green Designer Qatar 2011, Ashoka Fellowship 2008, Letter of Commendation by Clinton Global Initiative in 2011. Conserve India focuses on circular economy, fair trade, women empowerment, sustainability, environmental conservation, and recycling. They make fashionable handbags, clothing, and many more articles after recycling the single-use plastic. So let's meet our chain maker, Miss Anita Ahuja. Welcome, Anita, to the Spiritual Citizen. Such a pleasure to have you for this interview, and sustainability and whatever you are doing is something very close to my heart. Gandhiji has said, be the change you want to see. And even Paulo Coelho has said in one of his books that you set an example. The world changes by your example when you set it, not by your opinion. And Anita ji, you lead by example. Please tell us something about that moment in 1997 when you decided to start Conserve India.
Thank you, Rachna, for inviting me.
My pleasure.
I look forward to our conversation. I think what really was a trigger point was that I was very concerned about the environment, especially the energy and the waste. These two things I felt, coming from a middle class community, I felt that it was very important for us to understand what is energy efficiency and what is waste management. So actually that was my trigger.
Mm-hmm. And
that's how my journey started. I wanted to work with like-minded people. So a combination of family support, the neighborhood, this idea of Conserve India came up, and we registered ourselves as a non-profit, and we started a journey. One of the first projects we did was in our community, in our neighborhood, of doing door-to-door collection of waste and creating this awareness of zero waste at a household level. And the wet waste in our community park, we built up a compost area. And of course, at that was the time I realized that it's very difficult to make zero waste neighborhoods. That set me thinking. Also in that period, I got involved with the waste picker community, because to handle waste, you have to be involved. So when I visited their homes and I went to the landfill site, and I realized that, how difficult their life was and how they needed livelihoods, they needed capacity building. We just needed so much support from our society, which was not coming. That's how you move towards evolving yourself, is through a thought process and various influences that come. In this period, I also realized that the local administration was also it was very difficult to work with local administration. And I felt that in spite of, because most of us have a good network belonging to the city, since we have studied here and grown here, it was still very difficult to work with local government. And all these issues, you have to be involved with policy, you have to be involved with local administration. So in a way, I decided that we needed an organization. It should be registered, it should be legitimate. And that's how Conserve India came into being.
Mm-hmm. And what is the good part about it? That it has sustained from 1997 till date, which is remarkable, and salute for that. Anita, we all know that there is no planet B. And even Greta Thunberg in a UN speech has said that, we don't need to be hopeful, we need to be in a panic mode. So why do you think there is an urgency to save the environment, and what do you think and what do you consider as the biggest environmental threat?
Biggest threat, as we know, global warming is for real. Now, there are many reasons what is leading to global warming, but somehow the communities do not, uh, still people do not really believe in that whole climate change. Everybody knows it could be due to power, the coal. I mean, all that pollutants which we are releasing in the environment is creating that ozone hole. I mean, scientifically, everybody knows a lot of facts. But still, I don't see that kind of awareness or actions happening. And I feel that largely because somehow climate change has become it's not in a, it doesn't concern you personally. In our day to day lives, we do not feel the impact of climate change. So there is no community conversations and dialogues going on. Also, when you look at the government level, the influencers or the think tanks, kind of, they completely deny climate change. And since they are controlling the narrative, I mean, it's very difficult for the common people to come to kind of a fair, impartial decision. So there is a denial, and there is a political denial, there is an economic denial, I mean, a denial at every level. So obviously, when that's all the influencers and policymakers and the big industry are coming together to deny something, then obviously a common man is going to feel, who knows what is the truth and how, so you can't really blame the common man for, not really having a debate on climate change or.
And Anita, you have been a social entrepreneur since 1997. And what I have noticed is that social entrepreneurs are always purpose driven. And they always believe in uplifting people in and around them, people who are working for them, people who are closely associated or even far off associated with them. So please tell us, what are the perks of being a social entrepreneur?
Well, I'm glad you're asking the question now, because undoubtedly, like, social entrepreneurship has become really now talk of the town kinds. When around, it was in 2005 that we decided to become a social enterprise. Because after working for a few years as an NGO in Conserve India, we realized that we were becoming so dependent on grants and moving our projects from one place to another, because every funding came with strings, and it was difficult for us to make a long-term impact, which is what we wanted to do. So we decided to become more market-driven, have at least a couple of market-driven projects which were profitable, so that we could sustain the projects that we were committed to. So it was in that period we decided. This was much before this whole concept of social entrepreneurship came. We are actually one of the first ones to become a social enterprise, and I was really at many forums. I was criticized a lot for taking that decision, because as a team, like Conserve, we have a board of directors and all, and we all are committed professionals. We all decided that we needed a market-driven product. Now, since we didn't have experience of driving market-driven projects, we discussed a lot within ourselves, and we decided that we wanted to continue working with plastic waste. We wanted to build the capacities of the waste pickers and give them a secure livelihood. So after a lot of innovation, we developed a technique to upcycle low density plastic bags into a thicker fabric. And this fabric can be converted into making a variety of products like handbags and home accessories and a variety of things. So we set up in a small way and trained 25 women waste pickers at the landfill site. And we worked at Yamuna Pushta, which was a slum very near our locality. So it was convenient for us. And after we had trained them and we made a couple of samples, our friends helped us who had small factories. They could make the product. So we had a collection in front of us to start marketing them. Fortunately, in Europe and America, they always have been, since the last, I think, 30 years, welcoming of green products. So we knew that Indian market would be very difficult for us to market our green products because of many issues. So we decided to go for exports. And we became member of Fair Trade, World Fair Trade Organization, which is a network of fair trade buyers and producers. And we started our export journey. It was very interesting, learning huge learning curve for us. And but yes, our buyers supported us a lot in this journey of making mistakes in our designs and many things. And the collaboration still happily continues still today. And I feel the advantage of social enterprise is that you have a very good relationship with your customers. Number one, they are committed to your cause, along with, of course, liking the products, and the products have to be good quality and properly priced and things. They are emotionally drawn to the idea that you are committed to. Like mine was to make beautiful products out of plastic waste. So the buyers liked this, and so I have a good. Also, most social enterprises are very transparent and accessible because you have nothing to hide. You are working with community. So everything is more or less open for everybody. So the buyers like this. And so our clients are happy. Our employees are happy because number one, they have been trained. They're building their capacities all the time with our soft training skill sets that we have. We have technical training skill sets. So all these tools helps them to live a better quality life. So the employees generally are very, very loyal to a social enterprise, in a social enterprise. Also, the rewards are shared transparently. So obviously, they know when things are down, they know when things are up. So it's more like a family. And in the end, they also know that, even if we move away, we are not going to sell it somewhere which will cause too much of a problem to them. It's like we will take care that it goes smoothly. So I think all this helps in building that relationship. So, when you have good employees, when you have good customers, also a lot of innovation, because social enterprise is generally based on some innovation. It can be the style of your functioning, or it can be a product innovation, an idea innovation, but it is based on an innovation. So the things are right for innovation. Also, larger community is your role model. That, like, supposing we start a school in a slum for say 50 children, because we can only afford that much financially. But then the rest of the community is watching. So it impacts them. So there are not only directly people who are benefiting because of maybe training or maybe better salary or maybe, the children getting access to school, but the larger community also, you're creating those kind of model versions of what you think a community should have and does not have access to for whatever reasons. So I think that is why I feel a social enterprise, and I see now when I attend many government meetings, there's a whole conversation and discussion going on because during COVID, especially, it showed that the social entrepreneurs were the first to get up and reach those places where things were in crisis and deliver, because last mile delivery government cannot do. They don't have that experience. They can provide like say free ration, but then who is going to deliver? There's so many things, but you need social entrepreneurs to do that last mile. We have the experience because we have been working with grassroots communities. So, it's just very simple for us, but it's very challenging for corporates or for government so that is why this COVID thing has made everybody realize and appreciate, like, what is a social entrepreneur.
And Anita, is it morally satisfying also?
Oh, it's very motivational. Like, these are the kind of changes when you see in a short span. It's very interesting for me, and I really feel it was all worth it. Of course, there are long term impacts also, like the children have grown in this a lot of years, 20 years, till the workers' children have grown, they all are in colleges doing good jobs, and also I feel very happy.
Yes. You were mentioning fair trade, and just explain to us, in a line or two, what exactly fair trade is. Most of the people are not even aware of it.
Fair trade, it started in Europe, and basically it started. There is a set of values which we all are committed to. It's got 10 principles. Of course, climate change is one quite on the top, but also like gender equality, no child labor, and living wage. Uh, so there are all these principles which are also part of sustainable development goals. And of course, if you ask any person, don't you think children should go to school? There should be no child labor. They'll say, of course. I mean, nobody wants to see child labor. I mean, I'm sure everybody would hate that if somebody comes and says, this outfit which you're wearing, all that embroidery was done by a child, 7-year-old child. You'll just feel really like, I'm wearing, you'll just feel something about it, negative kind. So we all as a community, we believe in these fair trade principles, and all our enterprises are run based on these principles.
Mhm.
So it's kind of the soul of our organization, is that if somebody says, what you stand for. Of course, we each one have our own range of products, which also keep changing. You can be working with khadi, you can be working with metal, you can be working, selling anything as a social enterprise, like whatever the skill sets are of that particular group. But the values, what are the values we stand for? Is that something we all are committed to? So that bonds us together. Like during COVID, because the lockdown happened very suddenly and the world went topsy-turvy. And many of my friends who run businesses or government or any other, their orders started cancelling and stuff like that. So it was sad because, everything was kind of being. But in fair trade world, none of the fair trade buyers cancelled the orders.
I wish, people understand the true value and the impact which fair trade is making in the world, and more and more companies decide to be a part of the fair trade market. So, Anita, there are 3 R's of conservation: recycle, reduce, and reuse. So, what are the benefits of these 3 R's in conservation?
Well, I really believe that these are something which every household has to adopt. So anything which requires mental effort and which we are not comfortable doing, we don't do it. But I feel that for us, like decluttering is becoming more and more common phrase. Like, we want to declutter the house, we want to declutter our mind. And so in the garbage also, you have to declutter it, segregate it, and it really reads, if you do it every day as an exercise, you will feel more healthier and stronger. It's like everybody has, gets once in a while those plastic bottles. And if the plastic bags are stuffed in that bottle, so that more than 200 bags can be stuffed in one plastic bottle. So then you have taken care of 200 bags at least and put it in one bottle. And when you have 12 bottles like that, then it's just easier to give it to somebody. It's better that we set up processes for ourselves only, because there's really no one seeing it, watching us. But if we do that, it will help us mentally and emotionally, stabilizing and decluttering ourselves. So I strongly urge everyone to start this journey. And wonderful things are happening in this area. There are so many social enterprises coming up to recycle paper, to recycle glass, even collecting electronics, and even plastics. So one should be involved with one's community. We don't have that kind of infrastructure yet, or those kind of websites where you can do one click and get all this information. But I'm sure all this will happen very soon. And so then you will know, okay, if I've collected this much plastic, I can call up this person and he will take it away, or I have to drop it at this place, whether it's textile waste, plastic waste, any kind. So a lot of things are happening on the ground, which is very heartening for me to see. And I'm sure we are going to see a lot of change in the next 5 years.
Just recently I came across a particular video post on social media where youngsters who are still teenagers, they are doing exactly what you are saying. They're asking people to collect their plastic waste in a Coke bottle or whatever, and then give it to them, and then they are making shelter homes for Indian dogs who are on road. And they're installing those shelters in many places, and the dogs are actually finding some refuge when it's raining. And do you think these days online shopping is also creating a lot of polythene waste?
Oh, definitely, because fast fashion over the years has become so cheap. Indian designers are also working a lot with natural fabrics. The thing is coming that natural fabrics are good for our skin. They don't cause health problems, skin problems. So I feel like that is a very good trends like happening. If we know that all these natural fibers are expensive. Number one, number two, they are in short supply, so they will have to be recycled. Fast fashion is only plastic. You can only melt it and make it into something else. But natural fibers is but just now all the waste is getting mixed up, because people, when they donate, they just donate it and put it in a box and send it. So they are not segregating that this is a polyester mix and this is a cotton fabric. So we need a lot of awareness.
And I think every question which I'm asking you comes bearing such amazing tips, Anita. I hope my listeners listen to it and follow some of it. Now, please tell me one thing. What advice, because you are a veteran in this field now, what advice would you give to people who want to get into the field of sustainability and start some projects, where they can uplift the underprivileged, make some profit for themselves, and do good to the society at large?
For a social entrepreneur, challenges are more complex, and embracing this complexity, like, we have to understand that we are working with policy, we are working with poverty, we are working with, we are fighting the rich industrial, we are also looking at the neighborhoods and communities for support. So we have multiple stakeholders, and to communicate in the right way what your vision is, what your idea is, what your innovation is, I think it requires experience. So internship is one way of obtaining that. I'm very happy that all the colleges now support, and gap years haven't started yet, but it's a matter of time that they will also start happening, and that the students take a break and join somewhere for a year and understand different issues before becoming a social entrepreneur. And then having that idea, that innovative idea, is also very important, because the future is changing very, very fast. And and when you start your journey, then you're quite on your own. You have all these networks, but in a way, you are alone. And staring at you every day is the most vulnerable community, the poor, who want, like, yes, they say that, rose cow type of section of people. So, it's big challenges also. So one must understand that it's a complex field. So you have to understand, you have to be ready for it, and also you have to be trained to understand what are the issues floating around. So what can I put my energy in that will not only help my entrepreneurial journey, but also which is meaningful for me, like, So I think understanding those issues is also, it takes time.
So, do you think in today's time, if a youngster want to go into a business, related to sustainability, do you think he needs a good business model also?
Oh, absolutely. You need a good business model. So that's why it's good to spend time making your own business plan. Like, first, you have understood the issues, you have identified, okay, this is what turns me on, this is what I'm passionate about, this is what I would like to commit my next 5 to 10 years at least, because it's not easy to do business in India. And so, but you must work on your business plan, have your business model ready, and then there are lots of accelerators. Go and join those accelerators, and as a to test your financial model, because that will also increase your network. You will have mentors and people recommending you and showing you your next steps. So so all these things, I feel, are part of that journey, like, and correcting it on, before you've invested in it, you correct your business plan, your business model, you have checked out. And generally, if the business model is good, it always attracts attention. So then you are in conversation with an investor. Of course, simultaneously, you're working on your idea, because things move very quickly. But also, that you have people interested in you.
Mhm. Thank you. I think these are very important and significant tips you have given. So, Anita, please tell us one last parting question with you. What will be your message to the youngsters about the global warming? I think Iceland is the only country which is 100% sustainable. Just some words of motivation and advice to the younger ones. How to.
The climate change is for real, and the next generation is going to face the heat. So there is, you have to form your own narrative, because politicians will come and go, the other segments will come and go, but it's your future, and you have to look at science and look at the data and believe in it. That you have to fight climate change. So, start at every level that you can.
And one thing I have also realized that though they are teaching everything in a school, but when the child comes home, they forget everything about it. So that also you mentioned earlier that people do not really think seriously about it. And now I guess after having this conversation with me, I hope my listeners are going to understand that how important sustainability and 3 R's of conservation is. There are many powerful voices, Sir David Attenborough and Greta Thunberg. I mean, it's actually a very long list who are shouting on top of their lungs and making people understand. And you are one of the most important voices and most prominent voices, Anita, at least in India that I know of. So thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for agreeing to give me this interview. And I really had a lovely time having this conversation with you. Thank you so much once again from the bottom of my heart. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye.